This show will provide a brief review of how to write an essay conclusion for your informational essay. An essay conclusion has a few purposes. Mostly, it's there to emphasize the key ideas that were presented in your writing. This is where you would sum up all of the information that you have presented. The conclusion also provides a sense of completeness, so that your paper doesn't come to an abrupt stop, but instead has a finished feel to it. Finally, the conclusion is there to leave a memorable impression on your readers. It's the last thing they see and the last thing they read, so it's the most well-remembered. How do you go about writing a conclusion? Well, there's one thing you don't do. You don't introduce new information. You might come to new understandings about the information you've already presented, but there is no new material presented in an essay conclusion. So, what do? Typically, there are 3 things that are done in a conclusion, and they are done in this order. First, you restate your thesis. This is the same thesis from the introduction. Of course, you present it in different words, and it summarizes the main idea of your entire paper. Next, you add some insight. The middle sentences bring a clearer understanding to what you've presented. And you finish with a clincher, something that leaves your reader thinking. Remember that essay conclusions are short, no more than 1 paragraph, usually 5 sentences or even shorter. Here are some clinchers to consider for that very last sentence or 2 of your essay conclusion. A common tactic is to circle back to the introduction and think about the hook that you used. If you told a story at the beginning of your essay, you might revisit it. Or if you told a riddle, you might present a twist on that same riddle. Some other useful clinchers are the same things that make good hooks. You could use a quotation, something well-known or something said by somebody relevant to your essay. You could create a powerful image out of words. You could make a statement of the importance of your topic. At any rate, what's key here is that you leave your reader with an interesting or thought-provoking final impression. Now let's take a look at an example. This is from a paper discussing Christopher Columbus and whether or not Columbus Day is something that should be celebrated. Read along as I read the paragraph to you. Christopher Columbus had a huge impact on history. He played an important role in the creation of the country now known as the United States of America, and his voyages began a massive exchange of goods between the New World and the Old that continues to this day. Of course, Columbus's arrival in the Americas also sparked the colonization that eventually led to the death and destruction of millions of Native Americans and their cultures. Still, without Columbus, the world wouldn't look the same. Isn't that worth noting? You can see the first sentence, here in red, restates the thesis. This is the same main idea that was presented as the last sentence in the introduction. The middle sentences sum up and make clear the debate that was explained in the essay. And this particular conclusion ends with a question, a clincher that is meant to leave the reader thinking. Now it's your turn. Head back to your draft, tack on that final paragraph that's going to bring it to perfect closure.